Dead Island 2 is one of the most talked about games of the year, mainly because of the insanely long wait we've endured to get to this point. But with the marketing campaign ramping up for this zombie action RPG, we've gotten tons of new gameplay footage and details, and I'm honestly more excited about this game than ever before. In this video, we're going to be looking at some of the new gameplay details for Dead Island 2, and I'm sure there'll be some very interesting discussions going on in the comments over whether or not this game was truly worth the 11-year wait. Make sure you subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any future updates, and let's go ahead and get right into it. In case you somehow missed it, or maybe you just stopped paying attention, and I personally don't blame you, Dead Island 2 has been in development for over a decade now, with the start of its troubled production in late 2012 by Jaeger Development. Now, initially this sounded like an amazing idea because Jaeger Development is also responsible for the excellent Spec Ops: The Line, and they triumphantly declared that this game would come out in Q2 of 2015. And unfortunately, the prospect of a Jaeger developed Dead Island game didn't last long because publisher Deep Silver announced that Jaeger had been dropped from the project, which was later revealed to be due to creative differences between the two companies. It took roughly 9 months for a new developer to be announced, this time Sumo Digital, who had recently gotten solid reception on Little Big Planet 3, but 3 years later it was announced that the game had been once again handed off to a different studio, this time Dambuster Studios, whose only claim to fame in the time was the extremely disappointing Homefront: The Revolution. In fact, Homefront: The Revolution was seen by many as one of the worst first-person shooters ever made, so needless to say the fate of Dead Island 2 was looking pretty grim. But to their credit, Dambuster Studios are the only people to say that they've actually finished this curse of a game, so at least they have that going for them. In total, this game has been publicly delayed roughly 4 times, but that's not counting the internal delays that we never officially heard about during the development. I'm guessing, to Dambuster's credit again, they moved the release date forward earlier this year, which you don't see every day. As it stands right now, Dead Island 2 is set to release on April 21st, and I seriously doubt that there are any more delays coming, because if this game gets delayed again after the release date was then pushed forward, that would likely kill any confidence that people have in it. But lucky for us, all of the gameplay previews that we've seen for Dead Island 2 look pretty solid, and the game looks like it's pretty fun. Honestly, it looks more fun than ever. Overall, combat in Dead Island 2 looks like a solid blend of melee and ranged combat. There are tons of weapons at your disposal, and they can be used in multiple ways. For example, you could use melee weapons to hit zombies up close, or you could throw them from a distance, whereas guns are just going to function more or less as how you'd expect them to. Each zombie has a health bar, and you'll get damage indicators popping up on screen every time you hit them, which might get a little annoying, but then again, it could be helpful for figuring out just how much damage your attacks are doing and help you plan ahead for future encounters. Some people have also taken issue with the fact that the word maimed seems to be popping up on the screen rather frequently, but nobody really understands why, so hopefully this is explained a little better when the game comes out. Attention all of my action game lovers, today's video is sponsored by Naraka Bladepoint, the best and most unique melee focused battle royale that is available on Xbox Game Pass. Naraka has an insane crossover happening with the game Wolong, and the crossover will be available from March 2nd. Naraka and Wolong are both free on Xbox Game Pass. In Naraka, you can join in-game events to get various Wolong styled cosmetics for free, including the mask of the famous General Lu Bu. Besides, you'll be able to claim 2 exclusive outfits which are inspired by characters of Naraka in Wolong's future DLC. This is the perfect time to get started with Naraka, as they will be doing a free weekend. Naraka has pioneered a unique combination of melee weapons and hero skills in the battle royale genre, offering limitless combat possibilities. The game features a wide collection of melee weapons, while each of them has a dynamic moveset that leads to various fighting styles and powerful combos. Unlike some no-brain shootout, the game's counter system allows you to predict the enemy's next attack moves and use them corresponding actions to counter them. The key to winning is I predicted your prediction. Did you hear the roar of the tiger? That's Akos coming. He is the first hero on Naraka who can transform into a beast. Fast, cunning, brave, Akos will be one of the best choices to win the battle. The new hero Akos prepares to join the battle on March 16th. So click the link in the description right now to try out Naraka Bladepoint for free, only between March 15th and the 19th on Steam and Epic Games, or Xbox if you have Xbox Game Pass. You can also get a 50% discount between March 15th and March 21st on Steam and Epic platforms. And a huge thank you to Naraka Bladepoint for sponsoring today's video. You can't have a zombie game without some blood and gore, and all of the gameplay we've seen with Dead Island 2, they're taking things to the next level. I have to say, the flesh system looks pretty amazing. Damaging zombies will rip the skin off of their bodies, and hitting them hard enough can cause limbs to fly off, entire chunks of flesh to be blown away, and the best part is even after all of that damage, the zombies can still continue to run at you and try to take you down. A lot of games tend to only feature dismemberment or gore once you've dealt the killing blow, but in Dead Island 2, it is the most detailed zombie game I've ever seen. The zombies truly behave like zombies, and that means they'll happily keep running at you even after you've blown half of their body across the map, so be ready for some intense showdowns showdowns with the undead. Now, Dead Island 2 is going to make use of a skill system instead of a skill tree like the original game. Instead of branching through the skill tree as one character, you'll jump between various preset characters, each of which with their own starting skill cards. This means each character is going to have their own unique play style, and while it does mean less customization for the player, it will make the experience as a whole more fine-tuned to the developer's vision. So far, 6 playable characters have been confirmed for Dead Island 2, although more may be added post-launch. The first character is Amy, a Los Angeles native with a natural knack for leadership thanks to her life as an athlete, and her 2 skills are called Relief Pitcher and Divide and Conquer. Next up, we have Jacob, who we saw in the 2022 Gamescom trailer. He was born in London and is a career stuntman who can often be found by taking the bull by the horns and quoting Shakespeare while he's at it. His 2 skills are called Frenzy and Critical Gains. The third confirmed character is Danny. She's a part of a roller derby team and will seemingly have more melee focused playstyles with her 2 skills, Thunderous and Bloodlust. And then we have Ryan, who is a firefighter and an exotic dancer from Fresno, who has worked his fair share of bachelorette parties and is dedicated to tracking down his lost brother in the zombie apocalypse. His 2 skills are called Retaliation and Seesaw. Carla, however, is an LA native motorcycle racer and mechanic whose skills are Mosh Pit and Dig Deep. And finally, there's Bruno, who's described as a gentleman thief who was born in LA and has 2 skills called Backstab and Rapid Reprisal. I should also point out that in the recent extended gameplay showcase, the team did mention that there will be some level of playstyle customization with Dead Island 2, but ultimately you'll have to stick within the broad parameters of each character. It's unclear right now just what level of customization there will be with the combat abilities and skills, but personally I think this is a good compromise between having preset characters and preserving the spirit of the original game. As for weaponry, we do know for sure that there's going to be a lot of customization, and I think that's where most of the playstyle variety is going to come from. There are a lot of confirmed weapons for Dead Island 2, and from all of the gameplay we've seen, it looks like there are also going to be a ton of customization options for each and every one. There are some fancy weapons like various guns and firearms, but also some more improvised ones like kitchen knives and golf clubs, all of which can seemingly be equipped with different attachments and traits to make them all perform differently. So while there may not be a whole lot of character customization in Dead Island 2, rest assured that the weapon customization is going to be pretty extensive. Next up, co-op is confirmed for Dead Island 2, but if you were really hoping for the original promised version of the feature back from 2014, you are going to be severely disappointed. In case you forgot, it was revealed in 2014 that Dead Island 2 was going to have 8-player co-op, but since the creative vision has changed so many times since then, the player count for co-op has also been adjusted. Unfortunately, there's only going to be co-op support for 3 players at launch, which is a little strange since there are 6 playable characters. If I had to guess, I would say that this is likely due to some kind of technical limitations, maybe with the map design, because there really doesn't seem to be a solid reasoning for downgrading the co-op plans, especially so drastically otherwise. I'm sure the game will play great with 3 players. I know I'm not the only one who wishes the support for more party members, but I would love to know what your thoughts are in the comment section. If you're Googling Dead Island 2 and you saw the Wikipedia page, you'll notice that it's described as an open world game, but that's not actually entirely true. I'd call Dead Island 2 semi-open world, kind of like Jedi Fallen Order to an extent. The game doesn't take place in one giant cohesive map, but rather in set districts that you'll progressively unlock throughout the story and then jump between them as the game progresses. From a design standpoint, this makes sense because Los Angeles is pretty massive, first of all, but it's a little surprising to see such a highly anticipated project quietly be confirmed to not truly be open world. Then again, with the oversaturation of open world games nowadays, a semi-open world approach might be what Dead Island 2 needs to stand out from the crowd. So rather than being just like one open world, there's going to be like a path that you can go to, and then from there there's going to be some small little deviations in that path. It's still going to feel open, but you won't have as much freedom as a giant open world map. Having the game take place in various districts instead of one giant open world map may actually be a good call for the pacing, since you don't have to waste time driving or running from place to place. Although I will admit, it would be pretty awesome to see a truly open world LA in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. So we know that Dead Island 2 is going to be one of the biggest games that we've seen from Deep Silver in a while, but the question is, will Dead Island 2 live up to the hype? And honestly, I'm not sure how to answer that. On one hand, nothing is ever going to live up to the 11 years of anticipation. To be fair, the developers said that the game wasn't in development for 11 years straight, and the game we're getting next month isn't even close to being the same one that was in the works back in 2012, but it's still a project that Deep Silver has thrown millions of dollars at. There's a reason why the game wasn't canceled after this many years, and I don't think it's simply because Deep Silver wants to make their money back. They believe in this project, and there's going to be some kind of appeal to it if it manages to survive over a decade of development, and of course at least one full restart. As to whether or not gamers will enjoy it, I think that remains to be seen, and it may have a lot to do with what you expect from it. If you're expecting a gigantic masterpiece that blows all other zombie games ever made out of the water, you are almost definitely going to be disappointed. But if you're going in expecting a fun, simple, and somewhat old school zombie action game with plenty of jokes at the expense of California residents, I'm guessing you'll walk away from Dead Island 2 satisfied. Dead Island 2 may have been one of the most troubled and ridiculous development cycles in gaming history, but I am confident saying that it will not be the next Duke Nukem Forever. I was a fan of the original game, and while the spin-offs were pretty terrible, Dead Island 2 actually looks pretty fun. There were plenty of things that Dead Island 1 could have improved upon, and the long-awaited sequel looks like it's addressing most of those aspects, which I am personally super happy with. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What do you think about Dead Island 2? Are you going to be buying it when it comes out, or are you going to wait a few weeks and see what other people think of it? Don't forget to enter my PS5 giveaway for 110,000 subscribers. You can check the pinned comment if you would like to enter that giveaway. Let's definitely get some discussions going down below. Make sure you subscribe to the notifications turned on, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.